beauty.
Got some of your stuff.
See you at the airport.
All right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Here's our cell sheet, mate, in case you ever want any information. All the hotline numbers on there.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, I don't
Good to know.
I don't know the hotline number, so.
It's on
That's all right. Don't worry about it. We're going to do good. All right, you got to put that.
I'll see you there.
Yeah. It's a long road.
What's your first name?
Troy.
Troy. Troy what?
Platt.
Troy Platt, huh?
Yeah.
You're a Marine?
Yeah.
I'm a Coastie.
Are you?
Yeah.
Where were you?
New London, Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
When'd you get out?
96. And I went right into the fire department.
Did you just do 4 years?
No, 6.
You did. Did you have to do 6?
No.
You thought you might want to.
I was
Going to give it a go.
My goal was life.
Yeah. Where were you?
I was in the Desert Storm, Bosnia.
Oh, gee.
I was in Somalia. No, I got out on a medical, but I then went to EMT school, became an EMT, then became a paramedic, was on the fire department. I was a firefighter paramedic. And then when I retired from there, I started doing the marine mammal rescue. Instead of
There's my
rescuing
host.
you.
That guy's my host right there. See you tomorrow. See you, buddy. You got it. We got a soccer game. He's
Really?
my host. This is crazy, right? What a town. You like it?
Yeah, I do. I joke with everybody I'm going to move here, but not really.
You like New Jersey, though, too much, huh?
Well, no, I love it here. I just couldn't never afford to move here. Christ, I need $100,000 a year just to go out and have a beer once in a while.
Well, you know what? There's people that live a lot cheaper than that, believe it or not. But you really have to be, you got to know people. You got to be somewhat ingrained in the place.
Right. It takes time.
You know what?
It's cool because I've been here a week and the people, I've been seeing people out and they're waving to me and asking me, how my week's going, know when I was going home. They treated me like I felt like I lived here. That was pretty cool, that small town feel. So
That's great,
you
man.
don't get that not just anywhere.
No, you don't. Well, what do you do now? What are you doing here?
So I'm training Scott and his group of volunteers at the Marine Mammal Alliance in Nantucket how to do level A training first responders for
Level 8?
Level A.
Level A.
Yeah.
Okay, what's that mean?
It's with NOAA you have to have a level. Every animal has to have what's called a level A done on it, and it's specific paperwork that has to be done. Like you have to be able to size them correctly and know what sex they are, and conditions of how, if they're dead, the decomposition, location, other things like that. So they require you to have a certain training to get that. So Scott didn't have anybody, none of the volunteers had that. So I came up from New Jersey to
How did
train
you
all those
get
guys.
from being an EMT fireman, ex-Marine,
Former.
into doing this kind of work? I mean, is this a paid job you do?
Yes. So when I was a kid growing up, the guy that started where I work in New Jersey, his son and I would see me. So I grew up doing this as a kid, going out.
You did?
Yeah. So when I retired and I moved back to my hometown where it's located, he just happened to ask me if they had a position open, asked me if I wanted to do it. I had experience in it already, and then having a paramedic background, it makes it that much easier to understand.
Did you just love animals when you were a kid? Is that part of it?
No, it had nothing to do with it.
Had nothing to do with it?
No.
So how?
I like dealing with animals more than I do people.
Oh,
without a doubt.
interesting. Yeah.
Not even close.
Not even close, huh?
Not even close.
Why is that, do you think?
People
Do you think it has anything to do with you being in the Marines?
Well, no. You burn out after a while running calls, a lot.
Yeah.
So you end up burning out. You don't want to do the job anymore.
Right.
You end up hating people because they treat you like crap, and so you finally reach that tipping point, and then you retire, and then actually working with the animals actually is, I think, more relieving. It's nicer knowing that you like to think that they appreciate it.
Yeah,
there's no way of knowing. But
right, but that in itself, not knowing is almost good enough, isn't it?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Most people, when you take them to the hospital, you know that they don't care. So.
What does an A-trained person do? What are they supposed to do when they?
Right. So somebody sees a seal that's entangled or hurt, maybe bit by a shark. They will call the hotline number for marine mammals in Nantucket, and then they will send out a first responder who, that's all the training that I just did, and they will show up and then look at the animal and then determine if it's bad enough that it needs to be treated or disentangled, if it needs long-term care, and then everything is then put into place to try to where we are, we have all that already. Here, there's nothing in place yet, so that's.
Where are we as far as you're concerned, as far as this place goes? Now that you're an experienced guy.
So you guys have reached now the being able to go out and first respond on calls, which is great. Before, Scott was the only one doing that, and it's not a large island, but you have 3 times as many animals as we have. We cover the whole state, but you guys have 3 times as many seals here. So we here he's reached that first step, but now the step that I think needs to be done is having support from the locals, having support from the city, getting a facility they can work out of. Right now there's no facility, so they don't have a base of operations. There's nowhere to take seals back, so now let's say a seal is entangled in fishing gear, they have to do everything on the beach. You have a 300-400 pound seal, working, being able to take them somewhere makes it much easier than having to do it on the beach.
All right. So, well, there's a bit of controversy over how many seals we have here, and there's some people that say we need to get rid of them.
Right.
What do you say to that?
Well, I'd say that the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972 will stop that from happening, and I think that if you get rid of the seals, the great white sharks are already here. So if you get rid of the seals, where do you think the sharks are going to go when there's no seals? They're going to, it's an accidental thing that the sharks are biting humans.
Right. The seals came back.
The seals
now
made their numbers back. The sharks are making their numbers back.
Take the seals away, and the sharks might bite people.
Right. So not only that, but the whole ecology of the ocean is making a bounce back. People are seeing fish that never, the bluefin tuna is rebounding. So many things are rebounding because of, putting things like not being able to kill the seals and not being able to capture great white sharks and all these things. So I think that eventually you probably will start seeing orcas down here because seals are their favorite meal. So,
is the water might be too warm for orcas, or is it? Do you get them down? You don't get them in New Jersey.
We get them off of the coast, but we never get them in close.
No, okay.
So they do pass through.
They do, huh?
Yeah. And they do here out in the canyons, but I think that eventually they're an apex predator. You'll start seeing.
So do you go around and do this to other towns too, or you just?
No, I did this. I met Scott at the National Convention a couple years ago.
I see.
Where it's an international convention where everybody comes. It's a conference, and we all go and learn different things, take a bunch of classes. So I met Scott there, and we remain friends. He's been talking. There's right now a UME, an unusual mortality event up in Maine, New Hampshire, and northern part of Massachusetts, where a lot of harbor seals and some gray seals are dying from distemper and influenza A. And so the numbers are there's over 1,000 seals that have died since August.
What does that do from?
It's from distemper.
How do they get that though?
It's just an acquired. It's very contagious. So
It's natural.
Yes.
It's a natural selective type.
Influenza A, it's the avian flu.
Okay.
So they just get it, and then they give it to other seals, and until the population builds up an antibody for it, the seals start dying. So they're worried. They were worried that those seals were going to start traveling down to here, and then creating a nightmare where they wouldn't be able to respond to all these seals. So when Scott approached me, I said that I would take a week vacation and come down, and I had no problem, training everybody. So
how many people did you train?
Scott has a number somewhere around 40.
Wow, so, that many people got
30,
trained.
40. Yeah, it was pretty good.
That's fantastic.
So you guys now have that many people on Nantucket to be able to respond to it.
So Scott is trying to make this thing a little more obvious, as you may know.
Right.
There's a push to make a sanctuary as well, right? That's which is separate. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know much about that, but but I mean, are you talking about Great Point, the federal?
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think of all of that?
I mean, if that would be the federal government doing it. And, I mean,
that's who pays you though, right?
No. I'm paid. It's all private.
Oh, it's private.
Yeah, it's all donation based, so we don't get any funding from the federal government or the state.
I see. What town are you out of in New Jersey?
Brigantine.
Is that in the north or?
No, south. It's a little island right, bridge over from Land City.
Okay.
So.
All right.
But we respond to the whole state. New Jersey.
And you got people trained all over the place.
We have 3 paid staff technicians and then about 500 volunteers.
Wow.
So good help, and we rely on them. Just like Scott will need, the volunteers will be the backbone of the marine mammals in the Alliance of Nantucket, because they're going to be the ones that are doing the most of the work, and all those people, all those 40 people are all Nantucketers that want to make a difference and that live here, and so I think it's great for them.
So what people do is if they see a hurt animal, they call the cops, and then the cops call Scott.
Or they call the hotline number directly.
Or the hotline.
Right.
But the cops know it too, so
yes.
they would get it.
And then they'll forward it to Scott.
I see.
To the call, or whoever's on call. So that's what we're trying to push now, is to get people in that frame of mind to call every time they see a hurt animal or a dead one, so that Scott knows.
Well, if you're funded your way, is Scott funded the same way? Is he all private
it's all
too?
private, donation based, so
that must be difficult.
It's a tough road for him, being on a small area, and there's so many non-profits here in Nantucket.
You saw that.
So, yeah.
I know it.
So that's going to be very difficult for him and his board.
But it has such a good purpose, though. I mean, you got to have an island as progressive as this one is. It deserves to have a group of people, even if they are mostly volunteers, helping.
And that's what I saw in this island. I mean, you guys haven't had balloon releases since 2014. No plastic bags at the Stop and Shop. We're in New Jersey. We're still fighting to get plastic bags out of grocery stores.
What is it? I just
Nantucket's way ahead of the game.
Well, we're going to continue if I have anything to do with it.
Right, and I saw that they're the single-use plastic bottles.
We're working on that.
Yeah, we are still fighting to get plastic bags out of the local the grocery stores, and straws is a whole nother story. You guys are way ahead. So, but it's funny that in New Jersey we're way ahead on the marine mammal side. You would think that you guys would be willing to jump on that and save. It's an environmental issue.
Sure. So is this is it though for you now? This is your job? How does it compare to everything else you've been doing? When you think about where your life is right now, it's interesting how
Actually, it's a great job. I'm lucky to have it. I'm lucky to be doing what I do.
Yeah.
So I can't complain.
Are you married?
Yes.
So do you have kids too?
My kids are older, so my daughter's in marine biology school.
Oh, she's taking after her dad a little bit, huh?
Yeah, she wants to do sharks, but
Sharks?
yeah, shark research.
What do you think of that? You're not too happy about
I think it's great. I think sharks are awesome.
Well, what do you think about the fishing and the way we're handling everything?
Well, obviously you are. And they just passed another law that the commercial fishermen can't fish out to 12 miles. I mean, when I found out about that, I told some people in New Jersey, and they're fighting that same fight right now. And I'm like, we need to talk to the people up here to get on board, figure how they're doing it, and how they're the same with the wind farms. You guys are getting that out here to try to go completely clean energy.
Well,
so
it's tough, just like it is everywhere.
Right.
Because people get used to making money a certain way, and they don't want to turn it around. And environmentally, I mean, it's super important.
Right.
We've got to start taking better care of this world we live in.
Nobody likes change.
But man, we've had it too good for too long, and now it's starting to bite us back, especially with all the plastic that's in the oceans, too, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
Are you seeing that down in New Jersey too?
We do. We do see the plastics all over the place. The balloons, especially the balloons, they're a huge problem.
Really? Gosh.
Yeah, all over the beaches.
Are you finding them inside seals? And
we do find them in turtles.
Right.
Or sometimes seals. Yes. So it is still happening.
Dang.
We have evidence cases of it. So.
Man. So where are you off to today? Are you going home?
Back to New Jersey. Yes. So maybe I'll be back if Scott gets another large group together, come back and...
You like coming up?
Oh, this is my first time here. It reminds me of where I come from. I'm from an island that Memorial Day to Labor Day, all the out-of-towners come.
And you're telling me on your island, they're still using plastic bags to bag groceries?
Still. Yep.
You know what?
You have to actually ask for paper. They'll do plastic first.
You gotta see
It should be the other way around.
There's a piece running on my channel now. I want you to go look at it.
Yeah, you told me yesterday.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll definitely get your info and
forward it to me.
Forward it to you so you can share it with some of your people. Because there's, people will. When you start talking about the environment, and they all know it.
Right.
We all know. I don't care what political position you take.
Correct.
The environment is super important, and there's no reason why we shouldn't start.
Correct.
Well, Troy, it was good to meet you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, and I guess Scott's going to meet you here.
I guess. I don't know.
He'll be here. He's probably parked already, waiting for you in there.
I doubt he's slow. He drives pretty slow.
He does, doesn't he? He's an old man, All right, buddy. You take good care.